Welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, this is Wake Up, where you want to think, we want to grow, and we want to contribute. Today I'm excited to have my first guest on the channel. In my opinion, it's the most exciting guest for me. We just had the privilege of celebrating 12 years of marriage. So we're thinking about sharing a few things that we've learned in the 12 years of marriage. A quick disclaimer before we continue. We are not marriage experts. This video is simply for entertainment purposes. So this is not going to be an exhaustive list of marriage advices, simply a couple of things from our personal experience. So hopefully it'll be beneficial to you guys. So early on in our marriage, I remember feeling that she had certain expectations, and a lot of times I felt like I just couldn't really measure up to her expectations. I could easily feel like I was not good enough. So for me, one thing that was like a wake-up moment was attending a seminar called Ichooseus, and it was conducted by the authors of this book, which is John and Karen Lewis. And for me, it was a huge wake-up moment. So learning about your coping mechanism, which is how you respond to conflicts. And for me, I realized that I'm an avoider. Whenever we had a conflict, any type of tension, any type of miscommunication, I would avoid. I wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't share much. I would just kind of retreat. The thing that they recommend in this book is that you share what you're thinking, what you're feeling in a vulnerable way. Just to be real about my emotions was really challenging because I've just not really done that throughout my life. So think of your coping mechanism, whether you fight back or you kind of freeze or you flee, you avoid, that none of those are healthy. That's what I learned. None of those are a good way to work through stuff and to come to a place of forgiveness and reconciliation.
I think with going through the schema therapy, one of the most eye-opening things for me was to be able to share vulnerably, how important it was to share vulnerably, and different ways to do it. One technique that they give in the book is to write with your non-dominant hand how you're feeling. So I felt rejected. I felt unloved. I felt humiliated. Whatever the feeling was that I was feeling, to write it with my non-dominant hand and then give it to him. And as he's reading it, it looks as if, a child wrote it. And so it brings out this childlike heart. And when a child, or when really anyone, is so vulnerable, saying how they felt in a non-attacking way, it only
goes like this.
It only puts a dagger in their heart. So it only brings them to a place of, oh my goodness, I want to meet your needs. I want to help you to feel loved. I want you to feel loved. I'm so sorry that you didn't feel loved. That was definitely not how we dealt with conflict in the beginning of our marriage. And so, not that we dealt with conflict all the time after that, but oh my goodness, the awareness, the education, the different exercises and tools that they gave us really set us up for success. And just the know-how and knowing how to navigate this relationship, because it's one of the most important relationships that I have, that I will have, that I've ever had. So that was very, very, very helpful for me. Just learning how to be vulnerable. I think I may have done that practice like one time, maybe. But the principle behind it of being vulnerable and saying, when this happened, I really felt hurt. I really felt that I wasn't heard. Saying it in that way instead of, what you did made me feel so rejected. Those will get you two major polar opposite responses. Two different responses. One, you want to meet the need, you want to comfort, you want to apologize. And the other, you want to run away from. And that's probably why he was avoiding giving me the silent treatment all the time, because I would attack. I was very, very abrasive because I felt like so much of what he was doing was so intentional and out to get me. Yes, after 12 years, I realized that it was not. No, early on I realized that, but that did take some learning and took some counseling, you could say.
Like I said in the beginning, this is not an exhaustive list, and of course there are many different and helpful techniques to have a healthy, thriving, happy, joyful, fulfilling marriage. But one thing that I've learned, and specifically from the schema therapy, was how to communicate when you're having tensions, when you're having conflict, when there's some type of issue in the marriage. And for me, it was to strive to share things in a way that's vulnerable. And the key for me was to share, to express, and not to avoid and retreat, because that's so much easier just to run away. That would be one thing for me for sure that I think has been super helpful. Like I said, I'm still working on it, but to not run away and to share vulnerably.
One thing for me has been a mindset that I am the problem, not him. And that mindset has, I think, freed me from this feeling, this idea that I have to change him, that he's to change, he's not doing it the right way and it's all his fault. So freed him too, but also my mind has empowered me so much more to take responsibility for how I feel and not to blame it on him. Like, because you did this, now I feel this way. It's all your fault. This mindset of when there is a problem between us, miscommunication, before I was so quick to just blame him. It's all his fault. It's all his fault. It's because he didn't hear me. It's because he doesn't know. It's because he's insensitive. Because. All his fault. But with this amazing shift, I have now taken the energy, the attention into, okay, what's going on with me? How am I feeling right now? Okay, where did this come from? What can I do to, one, be vulnerable about this feeling, but also to let go of the feeling, and then to talk through it and work it out. But that has really changed our marriage big time.
So hopefully that's helpful. A couple tips that you can try and utilize. We all can be a happy, clappy, healthy community. Until next time, take care.